Welcome to another edition of Greatness Quest. I'm Trevor Crane, and every single time I put an episode on like this, it's to help you take your life and your business to the next level. And today, we have a special guest. In fact, today's episode is called Girl, Get Your Shit Together. I even suited up for it today. This is Lisa Chastain. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey. Thanks, Trevor. Great to be here.
I'm really excited because I have been part of Lisa's story now for quite some time from the beginning. I know that you started working with my wife a little bit before me, but what we're going to talk about today and what I love is that you represent your story. This whole girl get your shit together thing is something you had to go through. And then for everybody to know real quickly, Lisa has gone from last year before she started working with my wife and I in a combination of things. And we helped her with her book, by the way. That's a #1 best-selling book called Girl, Get Your Shit Together. Lisa went from minus $300 a month to making over $10,000 a month in a very short period of time. And this year, 2017, has been phenomenal with her #1 best-selling book coming out. She's got a number of new media gigs and new invitations to just have people love working with her. She's built an online presence as well as an offline presence where people want to have more of her. And so today we're going to go about I wanted to start at the beginning, Lisa, about what your challenges were before you figured out your business, your branding, everything, and where you were really coming from. And this is the first time we've done an interview together, and I'm excited because I want to capture your phenomenal success story. And I just want to let everybody know that the thing with Lisa is she's a freaking action taker. So she is going to share with you stuff that will work if you take action. Most people just give things lip service. This girl gets it done. So take us back to the beginning. What were the challenges you had before you got your shit together?
Well, I always thought I had my shit together. I've experienced success in other arenas, and I left. And so in 2011, I was working at a local university, and I was the director of advising for the Honors College. And if you can picture this, I was about 15 years younger than any other person at my level at the university. So success wasn't foreign to me, but when I crossed over the bridge into a new career, so I became a financial advisor, still advising people, wanted to help people with their money, I was floundering. And I think that the reason for that was that I knew better. I had been in college recruitment long enough to understand the importance of niching and target marketing. But my mentors in the field and me being just new in the field, I was lost about how to attract the right client, but also I had no idea who my right client was. And in financial advising, they'll say, cast a wide net, go after everybody. And I was suffering financially and in my business. I couldn't figure it out. That was the biggest challenge.
Got it. So how long did you flounder though? Because a lot of people go to new careers, but I don't think this wasn't like 2 months and 3 months and whatnot. And you found mentors, because I know part of your story as well. So you went out and you found people that were doing good at what you were doing and they were excelling. And then you said, help me. So how long were you floundering? Because this is a key part of the story. When somebody takes on a new career, like how long it takes to create success. And we're going to talk mostly today about the successes you've made in the last 12 months,
Sure.
But talk about how long was that?
It from the time that I started as a financial advisor and getting my licenses and trying to find the right clients, I was investing in my own money to make that happen. It was 3 years. So I really feel like I gave it my best shot. I was literally down to my last thousands of dollars going, what the heck am I going to do now? Because I was giving it my all. It wasn't for a lack of effort. Like you said, I'm an action taker, but I just apparently was not taking the right action and felt really stuck and frustrated by the time I got to you guys. 3
years. Okay. So I remember when you first, well, and that's 3 years of flushing money down the toilet, of an investment of your time, energy, money, frustrations, and your life savings, because I know what this went through with you and your husband when you were going through these challenges, and you were minus $300 a month when you approached my wife, and you're on your last savings to go ahead and invest in my wife's program to have her help you. So just what was that mindset here? Because I have a lot of people that come to me and they say, Trevor, I'd love your help. You know, I'd love their help in your book, business, whatever, but I can't afford it right now. I'm having these challenges, and I get it because I filed a bankruptcy at one stage, but you were right at the cusp of losing it all. So again, I like to start with the problem here. The beginning was, look at this. Lisa could do it. We can talk about the celebrations, which are awesome, but what kind of crazy person, you know, invest in the next, like, what, talk us through that, like about how you, that final decision making.
Well, I believe that if I stuck with it long enough, that I would eventually figure it out. And I really believe that. And I enjoyed working with the people that I was working with. So, and I was learning from them. But the real challenge was that I thought at the same time my husband would be making money, and he was also having his own challenges financially. So we went into this with a certain mindset, and then things unraveled over the course of a few years for us financially. He wasn't making money, I wasn't making money, and we're both looking at each other going, well, what are you going to do about it? And but I so desperately was committed to my vision of helping people with money. Because at first I had to help myself with money and figure out how to make this business work. But the real challenge was that I kept taking money out of savings, believing in the value of investing in myself. And I know that a lot of new business owners do the same thing. They take money out of their own pockets, believing in what they were doing, but I wasn't willing to look at the actual results to say this isn't working. And the results were, over time, I was not making money, despite the fact that I had this belief system that it was going to happen, that I could be successful. So they just didn't match. And that was the real struggle for me, is getting someone like Robin and you to say, hey, wake up. This isn't working. You need to figure it out, something new.
So I don't know the answer to this question. So, and you gave me part of it.
Okay.
And I know what it feels like to think I'm doing the right things.
Yeah.
And see them slowly crumble. And then you have to believe in something first for a while, and it takes some work, and you go to the gym for a while before you start to see the results. So that happens. And then you're working with people who are successful, and you're like, well, what am I not getting? So I know that that's part of the problem. Yep. But you use some language here that's key, like you were desperate you were committed, but you were getting desperate. You're like, I know I'm committed to this mission. I know it can work, but the way I'm currently doing it isn't working. And this has happened for me multiple times. I've had different mentors who are a great mentor for a certain period of time that I enjoyed. This is a danger. Like, I enjoy who I work with. I like them. I'm learning things. This is amazing. Mm-hmm. But then what was the shift? Like, why at one stage you just finally did the math and you're like, hold on, I'm just beating my head up against a wall. This is not, you had to stop. And then did you just get lucky by finding Robin? Because you and Robin found each other. Was it just like you were looking for a new mentor and then you were finally ready to listen? Or what was the transition? Like, how did that come about?
Well, I was working with my best friend of 25 years. And this is something other people do, is they go into business with their best friends or their best family, their family. And it was my loyalty and commitment to this person and love for this person, and the fact that she had been successful, that I was like, okay, let me follow her because I love her. And what I realized was two things. One, we don't work well together. And I began to see her own struggles over time. And so what I believed and what she was telling me didn't match. Mm-hmm. They didn't match anymore. And it was just a wake-up call when I turned on the first video, watching Robin explain how she was attracting her ideal client into her world. I was like, oh my gosh, I know this stuff. I know this, but I haven't been doing it. And like Maya Angelou, this quote's in my book, when you know better, you do better. And for me, that was like my wake up call to say, hey, like, start listening to yourself. And that's my message to my clients too. My intuition was telling me something months before I decided to say, hey, this isn't working anymore. But the financial results were also converging, saying, hey, you can't afford to do this anymore. Stop screwing around.
Got it. And so you'd been investing in yourself. You found somebody that you loved. And then, so this is I'm going to share with everybody. I think this is one of the first people you need to hire. So if you're looking for help and you want a result that you've not gotten before, you've got to find somebody to help you get there. And you can invest in a lot of different things. You can buy a lot of courses and a lot of programs, and you can fall in love with one of your friends or somebody that you know is doing really well. But the first person that you need to hire is a mentor, and that's a mentor that has a certain criteria. It's a mentor that has not just done well themselves, but somebody who has created a phenomenal result for others. If you look at the result of that mentor and you go, hold on, that person, like my wife is phenomenal in this because she's helped so many women, it made it an easier decision for you. You're nodding your head. Yes, Lisa's nodding her head. Yeah. She's like, it made an easier decision because I could see the other women she's helped. It's like, hold on. She's not just good at it. She helped these other women get a result. If I had that result, I would be happy with that. And then you're able to meet and exceed that in some cases. So that's number one. Now, the first thing that Lisa mentioned when I asked her a question, and because I'm keeping notes here in different colors, so I might be able to understand it. You said, I didn't even know who my client was.
I didn't.
So this was one of the core challenges. So this is the second thing. So in order of sequence of what shifted things for Lisa, order of sequence was she was losing, she recognized what I'm doing is not working, going down. I need to find a new mentor. You believed in the value of investing in yourself. So you knew that was it, but you needed a new mentor. You got lucky, like sometimes we do when we're finally desperate enough, to find the right person who'd been creating results for people. That was the mentor. Then you went ahead, and the third thing was you got real clear. You transitioned between, I know this stuff, but I'm not doing it, to now you found a mentor that you would hire, and then you got really clear about who you served. And then I know the next thing is what you were going to offer them. So you had something to sell. This is a real confusing part for most people. But let me ask you this question because I want to get clear here. I think you didn't actually answer on this interview how tight finances were when you made the decision to work with my wife and then invest. But we know that you were losing money for 3 years. But can you share how tight things were? I actually don't know the answer to this.
We were facing losing our house. We had over $20,000 in credit card debt. I had to make a decision to buy food or other necessities. I had overdrawn countless months on the mortgage. We were, which is so counterintuitive me because I would say that typically I am good with money. I had been good with money, but the ship was sinking. Literally, like I was really thinking about, okay, what's next? Like, we're going to have to get an apartment. We're going to have to sell the cars. We're going to have to declare bank. Like, I was thinking that. Because we had a little bit of money left, and I knew it was only going to last us for so long. And because I hadn't been making money in my business, I felt completely out of control and able to change the situation myself. So I kept saying, okay, like looking at my husband, like, when are you going to fix this? But he was doing his best too. So I hope that paints a picture. Like things were bad, and I could only see them getting worse from there.
Got it. And you're able to, even at that time, dig deep, and then you invested and you made it happen. So we're going to just go ahead and bypass that. Okay, so excellent. So this is where you came from. Now let's talk about all your successes. So I think you started, starting off this year in January of this year, because I think we're ending out. This is December 2017. Mm-hmm. So in the beginning of this year, 12 months ago, talk to me about that first month in January. I think you attended an event with my wife and I called Advanced Sales Mastery. Mm-hmm. And then after that event, you started to have some successes. We started working on your book in February, and I know there were more successes. So talk to me, to the audience here, about what had shifted for you and like financially, because I think it was pretty quick.
It was really quick. So I got clear with Robin. I joined the Femme Mentorship. My first weekend in the Femme Mentorship was October 2016, right at the end of October. I jumped out of that weekend and sold between October and December about $10,000. So that was more than I had made in years. And so then I came to Advanced Sales Mastery in January. and decided out of Advanced Sales Mastery to, when I learned a ton of new sales skills and even clearer about how to communicate with my ideal client, which are millennial women. And then I decided that I wanted to join the book program and write a book. And so I jumped out of Advanced Sales Mastery and started communicating right after that I was going to be writing a book. And within, I think it was just a couple of weeks, I had made another $12,000. So, $22,000 in about a 6-week time span was more than I had ever made in a year, if you look at it year to year, ever, which was mind-blowing for me.
That's great. Okay, so let's just, I want to get everybody really clear here, because to have success with your book, I love telling your story, Lisa, and you don't know this, but I probably use your story 5 times a week about how we met and you said, I have an idea for a book. And then we decided who you were going to serve, like who your book was going to be helping, and it was millennial women. And I was skeptical about that. I'm like, I don't know millennial, but here's the thing. It wasn't about my belief. It was about your belief. And so I didn't tell you I was skeptical. I was just like, well, I don't know how to sell to millennial women. Like I'm 40, whatever, how old I was at the time. I'm now a year older. So I'm like, but I don't know how to, I'm like, all right, well, you're going to sell to millennial women. Excellent. Do you want, and you're like, yes, that's it. And then I'm like, well, what is your book going to be about? I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm like, well, that sounds excellent. It's going to be about money. I know it needs to be about money, and I'm really passionate about helping women with money. I'm like, excellent. And you're like, with all this stuff, like, I know I finally got it. I've got all this education. I know I can help women. I've now just started implementing these things that are finally working for me. This is going to work. And so then I gave you the declaration phase. I said, okay, the first part of writing your book and publishing your book is telling people. So Lisa made 2 Facebook posts.
Yep.
Saying something to the effect of, correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, I'm really excited. I'm publishing a new book, and I just got done talking to my publisher. Yay. Something maybe better than written than that, but that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you had no real social media following. You hadn't been posting on Facebook. It's not like you were already this thought leader in any position or place. You just posted on Facebook, I'm publishing a book, just got done talking to my publisher. It's really exciting. But what we also had is Lisa had clarity about what she would offer. So I love telling the story that within 30 days, you made $12,000 and you made 2 Facebook posts. And then I say that all you did was follow up with all those comments and thumbs up and likes and helped those women or asked them questions. And then some of them bought your stuff, and that's how you made the 12 grand. And they're like, well, how? Because I've got other clients that spend years working on their books. They have it written forever. They've gone with traditional publishers. I do all this stuff and they don't make it happen. But you went out and you started with marketing. So without a cover, without a title, without anything, you left our one phone call. We met face-to-face that time. We met face-to-face, and you went out, and that day or the next day you made that post, and that's what started it all. Fill in the blanks. Am I missing anything? Because I keep telling this story. I'm afraid I'm exaggerating it, but is there anything I'm missing?
Well, the only thing would be that from the start, from the go, I understood very clearly the importance of calling people to action and telling them what to do. And so it wasn't just a news post like, hey, FYI, I'm doing this. It's, I'm doing this, and I'm looking for people who want to be a part of this, who need help. And if you're interested, let's schedule a 15-minute call. And that's what moved people and drove them into action to pick up the phone and say, I need help.
That's excellent. So your post wasn't just, I'm doing this. It says, I'm doing this, and I'm looking for people who I can help.
And whose stories I could use in the book.
For story and for case studies that I can use in the book. And so then you had people follow up with you saying, I need some help in this area. And then you got to immediately jump into these discovery calls where you could find out if you could help women. And not everybody hired you, I'm sure, but some of them said, yes, could you help me? And then it just immediately started to change.
And the first woman that I spoke with in particular had one of the biggest transformations. Within our first call, she decided to hire me. She's been with me for almost a year now, And within about a month of working with me, she cleared off $22,000 in debt.
Awesome. Okay, so now the core of what you offered, let everybody know now, you were in financial services or trying to become a financial advisor. And now what is it that you now do and sell so that everybody knows, like, what is it that you're selling? I know that you have a whole brand around it, and I love your brand, but talk a little bit about that.
Well, typically I work with millennial women who make great money, but they lack confidence with what they're doing with their money. So they may make $100,000 a year, but they've never learned what they needed to learn with money. And so they're not confident in being able to save, being able to feel confident about what they're spending, why they're spending on. I teach them how to live on purpose and how to make choices with their money that will take them from, getting out of debt. A lot of my clients have debt. They're getting out of debt, but they're taking their lives to the next level, and they're investing and growing their lives exponentially. So it's not just money, but like my book says, my book is teaching them how to control their money, live purposefully, and love their lives. And they're doing just that.
And so it's more of a mentorship and a coaching program then to go ahead and support them in making that transformation. So it's not just financial advising, like go do this and invest in stocks and whatnot.
No, I left my license and I don't give financial advice anymore, but you're right. Sorry. It's a 6-month coaching program that my sisters enroll into. I do some one-on-one coaching, but I'm really looking for that ideal woman who wants to work with a cohort of other women that they can support one another.
And you call it your sisterhood, is that right?
It's called the Sister Mentorship, and Sister stands for Strong, Independent, Successful, Talented, Empowered for Results.
Give it to me again. Strong,
independent, successful, talented, empowered for results. So they are women who aspire to be that or are that and want to go to the next level.
Nice. That's really great. And I know that this has been resonating well. So, okay, so talk to us about what happened next. So after February, you made about $12,000 in February with a call to action of not just I'm writing a book, but I want to help a certain type of person. You call that typically I work with this type of person who's going through these challenges, and then let me know if you want to be featured in the book. So you gave them a call to action. So now you had people to follow up with, and you're following up with them, and you learned how to sell or give them permission to hire you when you came through our advanced sales mastery program, stuff like that. This is totally like a showcase of come work with us, but come on, come work with us. And I know that you started working with my wife first, but then you and I started working with each other starting in February with the idea of the branding of this new movement of women who are going to help you create a phenomenal book. So take us forward, because I think when did your book actually pre-launch? Because you didn't start right away. You were marketing. I call it promoting and profiting from your message of the book for like 6 months before you actually put pen to paper, maybe even longer. So what happened after, like starting in March forward?
Well, sales-wise, I was more and more attracting the right client into my world. And so I didn't do the numbers specifically for the interview, but it really averaged out to be about $15,000 a month that I was averaging in sales, give or take. And so I was building clientele. I had filled my 2 mentorships. So I capped them out at 10. So I had 8 in one, 5 in another, and then finally got to 10 in the third one. And so that was going really well. At the same time, I didn't actually on Amazon pre-launch the book until September. So I did all of that marketing and that push, and everybody knew what I was up to. And I had a book content creation environment, and I was getting coaching, but I didn't pre-launch until September.
Okay, great. So we've got March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So for 6 months, you went ahead and you promoted your book. You build an audience of women that were your ideal target clients. Some of them bought from you and some of them followed you. And now I see what you do on Instagram and I see what you do on Facebook, and you have a following. You get more likes on all of your selfies than me, and then And then you also built a book launch team. So one of the things that I teach my clients to do is to get those people that are resonating with your message and start a book launch team. And I think you built almost 100 people that were now part of this team. Yep. That were excited, just as excited for your book to come out as you were, and have been contributing to the content. So when, in that 6 months period of time, Lisa and I were strategically working together to look at what her book was going to be about. We were titling her book. We were working on her cover. She did a photo shoot. She was working on the table of contents, all this work pre-game before she actually started writing the book. And this is a temptation that a lot of creative, intelligent people will do, is they'll start writing their content. They'll go, I'm writing my book, and they'll sit down and get it done. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't start writing your book for that 6 months. You were taking my coaching advice from promoting your book and finding the group of people who wanted help, and then actually helping them and helping them create phenomenal results, which ended up being success stories in your book. Correct. Is that all accurate?
Correct. Yeah, I didn't write anything until September, until after the pre-launch. And the thing that I think made the biggest difference for me was having the book launch team in place, because they were instrumental in helping me pick a title, the design of the book. I went back to them for feedback. I had some of them edit parts of the book. So they were really instrumental.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you went through the 6 months of actually, you positioned, you planned this thing out, you promoted your movement, mm-hmm. You got your group of new women and your new community of people that you're starting this movement with to contribute to phenomenal content. Your book now not only covered your stories, but now could be full of all of the results that you're getting for your clients. So it's a showcase of success stories that proves that whole mentorship part. Correct. to the whole thing of like what it takes to get a phenomenal mentor. Right. Okay, and so then in September, when you decided to pre-launch your book on Amazon, which is what a lot of people will come to me, they're like, Trevor, how do you get a #1 best-selling book? And, well, you need to get a whole bunch of people to buy your book, and there's some strategic things you can do on the back end to make sure that you're being intelligent and you're not competing against J.K. Rowling and Stephen King when you go to launch your #1. Yeah. But talk to me about September, because you did more than pre-launch your book that month. So how did that go down, and what happened when the day you decided, my book's now available for sale? And pre-launch in September means the book was not written. So what did you have done? What did you say? What happened? What did you sell? And how much of this book was created in September?
I believe the date was September 21st. Don't quote me on that. But up to that point, I was building my book funnels. So I was being strategic about how to market the book, and that's something that you've taught me. I was communicating daily and taking pictures and really promoting the pre-sale of the book. People were excited about it. I didn't have really much content, but what I did have, I was starting to share thoughts about what could be in the book. And I was sharing stories about clients who were going to be in the book, because I was accumulating all of that information, although I hadn't really started the book yet, per se. And so leading up to that, I felt like that week before, it was just a rush of getting the word out. And really, I think that it's important for people to know too, is that most of the advertising I did was on Facebook, and I didn't pay for much. I didn't put a ton of money into Facebook advertisement. It was just really building that following and that book launch team, and they were supporting me and sharing it, that I didn't let off the gas, and then it pre-launched in end of September. And I can't think of anything else I did in particular.
Okay, so you were posting daily, but on your book. So I teach this in our book program, that to pre-launch, all you need are what I call the 3 Ds. You designed a cover, so you had a beautiful cover. Okay, a cover that you didn't I didn't think was nice, but your whole audience voted for, so you knew that they liked it. And sometimes the things that I liked or you liked, they didn't like. So we picked what they wanted most, for the most part.
Yep.
And then you had the title of your book, and the front and back cover kind of worked out. So you had to describe your book, like what is it in one paragraph? What's this book about?
Right.
And then you set a date to promote it. So those are the 3 Ds.
Okay.
And then you promoted this for daily, and you spent some money on advertising. You told me before, because I asked you a couple questions before we did this interview, how much did you actually invest overall in all of your paid advertising? Because I could see somebody watching right now going, aha, she spent money on advertising. That's how she did it. This rich bitch, used all of her money in paid advertising. That's it. I don't know how to do that. Well, how much money did you actually invest?
For the book, like maybe $200, maybe. Not much at all.
And then on the 20, so you maybe put $200 towards promoting a couple of posts or something like that over that time frame. And then on the day it launched, let's say it was September 21st, if that was the day, how long did it take for you to become a #1 bestseller? And you said that you built a book funnel. Now that's also something we supported you with on how to put that together. But I said you did more than become a bestseller on that day. And you became a bestseller that day. Am I right?
I did. I became a bestseller that day. Within, I think, 3 or 4 hours, I was a bestseller.
On Amazon. That's excellent. I know you sold several hundred books. I don't know how many it was exactly. But then you had a certain percentage of you also grew your list that day because you had run new marketing, and you asked all of your sisters or your followers or your team to go ahead and grow your audience base. So what did you add, like an extra 50 or 100 or so? What was the list you grew that day?
I think it was 55 new contacts.
Okay, so 55, pretty conservative, but that's still awesome. That's 55 new people that were introduced to your book and contributed to your #1. And then I know you made a sale that day. So what, because you also made an upsell, because we did in your book funnel, we said if you can get the book, come get these cool bonuses. So what happened there?
I created a upsell for a $19 class, which was a lot of my great material, and it was get your shit together in just 2 hours. And I sold 6 of those. So, I think it was $120.
Okay. So a little bit, maybe that paid for your advertising costs, but here's the thing. Lisa pre-sold her book that was not written.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just get this. She designed a cover. She knew what the content was going to be. We understood the table of contents, and she tested that and some of the stories that would go in it with her audience, and they loved it. She became a bestseller. She then said, would you guys like more help? And she pre-sold a program. And I advised that you sell it for several $100s, but you wanted to sell it for $20. You sold it for $19, which is totally cool. And you had whatever, and I think you told me that you had 50 people opt in to get the bonus. So that's only 50 people got to see the offer. So about 10% of the people that saw the bonus video that said, would you like some help with that? You basically made $20 per head. And you pre-sold that course. Had you created that course yet or no?
No, I hadn't.
Okay. Like I told you guys at the beginning of this interview, Lisa's an action taker, because a lot of people will tell me, I can't tell people I'm writing my book until I've written it. Like I can't promote it. And then they'll say, I challenged Lisa maybe a month before her book came out. I'm like, what else do you want to offer? And she's like, I don't know. But everything I'm doing, and I'm like, well, pre-sell a program, pick a price point, sell it for $100, sell it for $200, sell a program, make a bonus video and pre-sell it. You'll end up creating great content for people who need your help and help them more. You're going to find did any of those 5 people that bought your $19 course, did any of them upsell to your next program or no? I'm just curious.
Not yet.
Oh, that would have been so great. You're just like, yes, they did, but not yet. Hear that? Not yet. But then you serve them. So then after you sold that course, you then delivered the content to them. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
God, I love it.
That's been my MO from the start. Just sell it, and I'll create it along the way.
Well, and I interviewed for my podcast this a couple years ago. I interviewed a woman that worked for Tony Robbins. Her name is Pam Hendrickson. She worked for Tony Robbins for 12 years or 14 years, and she was his right-hand man, so to speak. She actually helped him create 5 of his courses and programs. And when she transitioned into her business, Lisa, you're going to love this story. When she transitioned into her business, so she'd been working for Tony for years, right? And she was his guy, his gal. She was his gal. And without her help, he wouldn't have created his best-selling programs that he'd ever had, that were phenomenal. She left him and thought, I'm going to sell my own course or program. Her first year of business, she lost money. Just like you, she was transitioning into her own thing, selling her own brand, and she was so embarrassed and so confused, like, how could this happen? And so the pattern she was using was she would try to create something first. She'd create a phenomenal course, and she would make it quietly, all on her own, and make it beautiful and amazing, and then try to go sell it. And she'd make a couple of sales, and the rest of it would bomb. So she spent all year making courses and programs, making them, and then trying to sell them. And instead, she went to one of my mentors, my first book mentor, actually, his name is Mike Koenigs, and he said, Pam, you're phenomenal. You're doing it the wrong way. What you need to do is we will sell it first. You and I are going to go here, and he picked an event, and he goes, we are going to pre-sell a course. And she freaking lost her mind. She's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. But so they got on stage, and together they pitched this program, and they pre-sold it. And they had a room full of people that bought their program, and they created the outline for what the program would be. And then what they did is they interviewed their, let's say 100 people that bought their program or whatever it was. Let's say they sold it for $1,000 a piece, whatever the number was. They just got paid to now create the program. And they knew the outline. And so they would interview their participants that bought the program, and they were just 1 month ahead of them. And Pam lost her mind. It was a very challenging time for her because she had to stop doing what wasn't working and start doing what did work. But from there, everything transformed. And now she has several courses and programs that teach people to do this strategy. And so this strategy works. I like leveraging it into people's books because your positioning is so much more phenomenal. When you're an author and you're working with the publishers publishing your book, and you do this simultaneously and you have a freaking plan, then you've got the conviction to actually make a sale. Because what Pam had was a mentor she was working with that believed it was possible, because there's all this self-doubt that comes up. And Lisa and I worked together a lot, and you worked with my entire publishing team. Yep. Most of the time you're working with my publishing team and not me, working on all of the parts that actually got this done. So this is awesome. Lisa, I want to transition into some of the results you've got. I took notes before we got on our call about some of the other successes you've had. Okay. So a lot of people might think that this is, how could Lisa Chastain provide value for her clients if she'd been going through these challenges? Like, I'm just calling bullshit. Like, people go, this doesn't work. Lisa, you said one of your first clients is still working with you over a year later. And I think you had in your most recent graduating class 100% retention of, like, they finished a 6-month mentorship and then signed up for you. So talk to me about your intention with your clients and actually what's happening with their results.
Well, the biggest thing is, I know from my own journey that, and I know Robin wrote the foreword to my book, is that it wasn't that I wasn't capable of getting results. It was the opposite, that I was more than capable of getting the results, but I didn't have the right roadmap, and I didn't have the right structure and system to support me in getting those results, in particular in my business. So I'd had the results before in my life, and I'll have a lot of women come to me and say, I'm good with money. I don't really understand what's going on right now. And so I believe that a great mentor can empathize and really understands because they've walked through it. So that for me is a key element of a good mentor, has walked through it and walked out of it, and then can bring other people through it. And so I know my own experiences, I can level with a woman and go, hey, I did it. Follow me. Let's go. I'm out, I'm through. And so I think that matters. The credibility is there, but then also the vulnerability of sharing my story, which, you've also encouraged me to share my story. Robin's encouraged me to share my story, to be vulnerable, tell the truth. People get that stuff. And then but I have also used a lot of Robin's tools, other tools from other financial
So before
planners.
you get into Robin's tools, I'm going to interject for a second because I want to get you use an example of some of your vulnerability. And I know that you've gone through some challenges this year because it's not all just been roses in your life. Because it's like, okay, now that you started figuring this out and you got your brand right, you got your messaging right, you got your book done, or you're working on your book, that's great. You know, a lot of people are like, well, screw you. That's really nice that you finally figured it out. Everything's good for you, pretty girl, you know. Of course she can do it. She's got everything, but I think you've had personal challenges this year as well you've had to go through. Give me some examples, and I think you share your vulnerability on a regular basis with your clients and in your marketing. So talk to us a little bit about what some of the challenges are you've had this year.
Well, getting the business off the ground, recuperating financially. I'm still in debt. I mean, it didn't wash away overnight. But also at the same time that I'm building all of these things, my marriage was failing. And I do talk about that in the book. And so as much as things look perfect, they're in transition in my life. And my husband and I have decided to get a divorce. And a lot of that has been because of financial struggle, but also we're just realizing we're not compatible. And we have a 9-year-old son together. He's in school. I have new challenges in my business. So that's great. I'm making money now, but now I have clients and growth that I need to sustain. I have to hire an assistant. I have to take my finances to another level to support this level of growth. So it's been a major investment of time, of energy. I also wrote about the importance of in my book, Silencing the Haters, where I've had to renegotiate relationships, friendships, family members to take this type of adventure on, to become a public figure, to bare my soul. It's been very uncomfortable and very risky. And I'm grateful to have the successes, but they have come with other costs.
Now, let me ask you about that, because those costs, the scary, the risky, a lot of people are scared to bare their soul. And I remember times in my life that's been a scary thing to say when something bad happened. I've mentioned bankruptcy. There's other mistakes I've made that I haven't wanted to share. And when I shared them, it was one of the scariest things ever. But then I encountered like the biggest piece of peace on the other side, and the gifts on the other side were so much greater than the, what did you say, the things that were uncomfortable or were costs. So have you found something similar as far as it being freeing, or are you still in the middle of some of those things are still pretty painful?
It depends on the day, right? Like we're selling our house, and I love this house, and that's painful. My husband and I are good friends, but we're at the end. He's still living at home. We're nearing the end of what was a 16-year relationship. That's painful. And I'm looking at living on my own for the first time. I mean, I left my parents' house at the age of 23 and lived with my husband. And so that's scary. I know I can do it. And I believe that I can, but that's still uncharted territory. So yeah, every day is different. But also I get to come authentically and honestly to my clients and help them with their challenges and say, I'm not doing this because I'm letting my life unravel. I am doing this because I'm committed to the vision that I have for my life, and anything that does not serve that vision anymore must go. Toxic relationships must go. Financial decisions that don't work must go. So I'm walking and I'm learning and I'm growing, but I'm only doing it really for myself, but to help other women along the way and let them know it's possible. You don't have to stay in a relationship that doesn't work. You don't have to be a mess financially anymore. You can fix it. And so the pain for me is worth it. Sharing it too makes a difference.
So let me ask you about that, because you said you have to silence the haters and you wrote about that in your book. When you share that vulnerability, I talk to a lot of people that are going through transitions and they're sometimes scared to share in the middle of the anarchy. What are you finding when you do bare your soul, like you just did, and you talk to your audience about the challenges you're currently going through? Are you found that you are judged and they don't like you anymore and they don't want to buy from you and they don't trust you? Because these are our fears. This is, if we share that we're really going through this stuff right now, then nobody's going to like me and nobody's going to trust me, nobody's going to want from me. But I found it to be the exact opposite. And so you're right in the middle of some of that. You have some successes, you have some challenges, but when you bare your soul authentically to your ideal audience, what do they say?
They're grateful. And they are, the reviews that I've gotten, in particular, I had one colleague, right, and she said, "Thank you for sharing your story. You're so courageous." And I know, I've heard, I know I'm not alone. And thank you for taking the risk. And so more gratitude and support that I could ever imagine, more than judgment or someone's not going to hire me because of it.
See, I think that's really amazing. I didn't think that's what we were going to talk about today, but I have found that as authentic as we can be in our communication, and especially sharing the scary, vulnerable things, are those things that actually position your brand best. That's actually the things that, more than just saying that I'm cool and I made a lot of money and this worked and I was successful here, I was successful there. What resonates with people much more is when you share that you've walked through the fire or that you're in the middle of it, and then instead of getting, hate, you get love. It's a crazy thing that the world that we live in now is more attracted by the marketing of authenticity and credibility and vulnerability and integrity than it ever has before. We're transparent. Typically my podcasts are not in a suit and tie. They're done where I'm wearing a t-shirt. But I knew I was going to be on with a pretty girl today, so I put on my tie. I'm still wearing flip-flops, though. Just there you go. Flip-flops. But talk. Let's hear some other. So, how about your branding? You mentioned to me before that you now have an online following, but like you said in your local community that certain things are happening as well. What do people now know about you, who you are, and who you work with, and who you help? Like what's going on?
Las Vegas is an interesting town because if you're here long enough, it's still a small town. And I had a gentleman who is a part of a online website. It's an online TV hosting site. And so I host a show there called Money is Sexy. And he looked at me and he said, I've been on this circuit for a really long time now. His name's Danny Vegas. So he's, really the Vegas guy. He does every social networking you can imagine in town. He goes, "You just came around. Where did you come from?" He said, "It takes people years to do what you've done." And I believe that it's because there is no mistake when I walk into a room who I am and who I help. Specifically millennial women. I am the millennial woman money mentor, and I am on a mission to make a difference for young women. And that in and of itself, people are going, okay, I've got clients that you can talk to. I like your message. You're inspiring. And so in the local community, people are starting to request me to be on their podcasts, to be on their shows, because my story is inspiring and I'm not afraid to share it. And so I think that now I'm bringing other women around to talk about their vulnerabilities and what they're going through. It's a really cool community that I've created, but that it starts with that, Trevor, is there's no mistake with who I help and how I help them.
I love it. And then you have, what I also like about your program is that you have something that is scalable. When a lot of clients start off like selling services and selling coaching and selling consulting, they have these one-on-one client groups, and that's great, but it has a certain limitation. You can only deal with so many clients at one time. And I like that you have this sisterhood, this community, and I know how much more power that's created. I've seen that in my wife's programs and all these women that get together in the Femme Mentorship as you join my wife. So you've now started to become in demand in media and in podcasts, and this is actually the first podcast since Lisa's been working with us with Epic Author Publishing. I wanted to put her on a virtual book tour. So this is the beginning of Lisa's virtual book tour where we're promoting her book on our podcast, Greatness Quest. And then she's going to begin with my booking agent to go and be promoted on other shows. So this is the first one. But I know it's not your first show. You've been on other radio shows and you've been asked to be a keynote speaker for which group is it?
The National Association of Women Business Owners in Las Vegas.
That's phenomenal. So you're getting speaking gigs. You're getting asked to appear on different podcasts and media channels. Where else have you been to get blogs or something? Where else have you been asked to speak or showcase your info?
I was highlighted in the Las Vegas Women magazine as people to watch in 2018. From there, I was contacted by one of the local media general managers. He wants to have me on as a money expert for all the content they're building out in the new year. I've been on the #1 internet radio show in Long Island. I've been asked to host my own show on the WCOBM. So I had been a guest, but they've given me my own show essentially. The local libraries invited me to speak, come back and do a series for them. And I was on a podcast called What Leadership Looks Like. We talked about being a leader and what it takes to do that. So it's just, every day I have people that are coming around going, okay, what are you doing? What are you up to? I had a Forbes contributor reach out to me and ask me to be a regular contributor to her website. So I can just see the momentum building. And that's all happened really since the book launch.
So you started with, you were minus $300 a month. You had no following. You didn't know who you served. You didn't know what you were going to offer. You didn't know how to structure your business. Now to having basically inside of 1 year turn everything around. So everywhere you go in your local community, people know who you are, who you serve, how you help, and now you're being pulled in a lot of different directions to get your message and voice out, not by pretending to be something you're not, but by being as authentic as possible about what your gifts are, how you help people, and you have a functional way to win and serve them, and you're focused on a millennial woman that can work with you for a lifetime. This is a lifetime client focus, not just they're in, they're out, we're turn and burn, we want to go ahead and make a whole bunch of money and screw a bunch of people and all of that. You're getting so much love back from your sisters. Is that what you call each other? I know that's in your book.
Yeah, we're sisters.
We're sisters, and you snap. I don't know if I know the snap. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what advice do you have, Danny? I basically pulled out a lot of stuff from you. I deconstructed your brand from the beginning to now on like the upswing. And I love that you are authentic enough to share with the fact that you're in the middle of the drama now. Like the drama doesn't end, you just move. Like if I was to shift I just bought a new house. And that has us all this new challenges. And then I wanted my wife to get pregnant for years. And now she's pregnant. But now she's like 9 months pregnant or almost 9 months pregnant. So she's going to burst. And we've got all these new challenges personally and professionally. And they never stop. Our branding never stops. Any other comments for our audience here on what you think would be valuable to them?
That it's going to be okay. And the best investment anybody could make is to hire the right mentor. That's it. Hire the right mentor. And I know that for me, what's so valuable about what you and Robin do is you're not just the package together, but you're amazing human beings. You're people that I call my friends now. And you have an amazing network that is now becoming my amazing network. And really, that's the value of the right mentors, that you become a part of a family and a system and a program. My whole life has exploded and turned on as a result of one decision to take one risk. And if you find that person, hold on to them. Do whatever it takes. I know you have your own story of doing this with Tony Robbins, where you were just, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this happen. And I firmly believe in the power of making that happen, doing whatever it takes.
I think that's pretty good, Lisa. I know that you've got your book out, and I asked if you wouldn't mind giving that or some other gift away today. So what do you have to give away? And then I'll make that link for us so that we've got it. What did we have?
I want to give away a book. I want everyone to have my book. So please follow the link, get my book, and learn how to get your own shit together, and then pass it on to somebody else who wants to get their shit together, and everybody will have their shit together.
So Lisa's book is called Girl, Get Your Shit Together. So if you go to, let's say, go to trevorcrane.com / let me see, hold on. We got to come up with a cool domain name here. So it's going to be, we'll do it for Epic Author. We'll do epicauthor.com / Lisa. That'll just be it. epicauthor.com / Lisa, LISA. And then you'll get a free copy of Lisa's book. Instead of coming up with a cute domain name, you've already got the cute name of the book. Girl, Get Your Shit Together.
Yeah.
And that'll be a free book for everyone. And this is how fresh this is. You pre-launched your book in September. Then you had 3 months to now write that book. And so I know it took it was about 30 days of getting that book content done. Then another 30 days or more of sprucing it up and doing all the final editing and formatting and making it beautiful. We just finished that. Your factual ebook launch came out
December 7th.
December 7th. So this book has only been out since December 7th. And then we ordered your paperback book. I'm still waiting for it to arrive in the mail. We sent some to you and some to me. And so waiting for that to come. I was hoping I'd have it here for our interview, but I know you have a paperback launch coming soon. So one of the things we do with our clients is when you promote different launches of your book's availability. So we promoted the pre-launch. Then we promoted the ebook launch in December 7th. And then the paperback will be coming soon. So as soon as we have them in our hot little hands, we'll have them. You guys will all get the copy to the ebook, and what we'll do as well on the link, we'll give you a way to get the paperback book as well. So we'll give you the link so you can order that. They're available on Amazon right now, so you can go get it if you want it. You might even beat us to getting it. Sometimes they'll ship it faster. That's happened to me, Lisa. I've had clients get the book before me.
What?
I know, it's happened.
Well, we're chopped liver, I guess. We're just the authors or whatever.
So that's excellent. So thank you, Lisa. Go to epicauthor.com / Lisa, and you can get her new book. And last comments, although it was so amazing, that last thing of do whatever it takes. Anything else for our audience before we go today?
2018 is the year. I know it is. So whatever is on your heart, whatever it is that you've been putting off doing in your life for it to be amazing, I believe that Trevor, you and I are a great example of jumping in the fire and having it is possible for you to have everything that you want. So go get it.
Go get it, and we'll see you. Greatness Quest for 2018, by the way, is going to be a daily podcast where I have a daily dose. So you got to plug in to get that. And then we have weekly episodes like this week to show up on video. And we have new TV shows and things that are coming out. So you should look forward to a great 2018. We can't wait to help you take your life and business to the next level. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Thanks, Trevor.
Bye, Lisa. Thanks. Woohoo!